Tom and Jack for Friday. You know how normally I plug your Twitch stream on a Wednesday, Jack?
Yeah.
Do you want to plug mine?
Yeah. Are you doing Love You By Fridays?
I am doing Love You By Fridays. What's it
Tom,
all about?
It's where you chat with people in a sort of irreverent yet uplifting way and talk about just anything, really. Not even wrestling, just anything.
Absolutely
What time does it start? Have I missed any crucial details there? I feel like there's a crucial...
Nope. You've pretty much nailed it. Pretty much nailed it, mate. It's just whatever, like chat about life, the universe, and everything here in the isolation station from 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Come and say hi. Bring some cake.
That's twitch.tv/Cultaholic for Tom's Love You By Fridays.
God, we're good at this, aren't we, mate?
Yeah.
Oh,
really
here's
good.
your news. Sting's AEW match could be delayed. A top WWE Raw star has responded to the Undertaker's podcast comments. And which WWE Hall of Famer wants one more match? Find out in a bit. So the wrestling news was rocked by the announcement from AEW that Sting is getting back into the ring, teaming up with Darby Allin to face Team Taz. What's the score here, Jack?
So, Sting came out to congratulate Darby Allin on retaining the TNT title, which he did last week. And then, before he could do so, really, they were interrupted by Team Taz, who were on the Tron, and they said, you fight dirty, because Sting had got involved in the match. But he'd only done it to even the odds, really. But they were saying, oh, you want to take it to the streets? We're from the streets. We're street fighters, we are. And then Darby went, all right, then we'll take it to the streets as well. And it was all left a bit vague as to what that meant until a street fight actually was booked for I believe, it was for Beach Break, wasn't it? I think.
AEW anyway. Revolution is...
It was booked all the way for Revolution in the future.
Booked for Revolution. Now, Revolution, set to be taking place in not too far the distant future, but it looks as if Sting's match for Revolution is subject to possible delay. Nothing to do with Sting, but due to other mitigating factors. What have they said in the Observer this morning, Jack?
Right, so now I see why it was booked for Revolution. This all makes sense with the story now. So the Revolution pay-per-view, according to the Observer, is being moved. We've heard possible dates of either March the 6th or 7th at Daly's Place. The original date of the 27th of February, this is news to me, has been talked about as possibly a Jake Paul pay-per-view. I'm assuming he's having another one of his boxing matches. The rascal, what's he like? Although with that date coming closer and nothing signed, the odds of that match happening would seem to be decreasing, actually. The lowest AEW pay-per-view, Full Gear, on November 9th, 2019, even with a Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega unsanctioned match on top, went head-to-head with the second Logan Paul versus KSI fight, and therefore suffered because of it. So I guess they're keeping an eye on the possibility of this, I assume, celebrity boxing event going ahead on the 27th of February, and if it doesn't, then they'll keep it then, and if it does go ahead then, they'll push it back about a week, and that might mean that basically we have to wait a little bit longer for Sting's AEW debut.
I think that's why you'll be forgiven for thinking that this was going to be a match at Beach Break or somewhere like that, because whilst they had name-dropped Revolution in there, they put out that lovely graphic with them on, with Revolution in the background behind all the lads, but with no date set to it. So they're obviously very aware that that match could be moved, that match and that whole show could be moved back a week, possibly two, depending on whether or not we see some YouTubers having a scrap. That will be a thing, won't it? Would you buy that fight?
No, absolutely not. But at the same time, he didn't scrap a YouTuber last time. He fought an ex-basketball player and beat him. So that'll show you basketball. We're the real tough guys.
Where's your basketball rival to get more on this? Is he knocking around still?
Oh, my basketball nemesis. Yeah. He emails me sometimes, which is quite friendly now, which is nice.
That's lovely that you're friends. Yeah. Undertaker may not have made many of them on the Joe Rogan Experience, talking very openly about his life and times and his career in wrestling. And there was a particular comment that he made that a Raw star has reacted to. Let's get the comment first, Jack. This is when they were talking about the incident with Dr. David Schultz, when he slapped a reporter in the face, and they were reflecting on that, weren't they?
Well, I guess that this all happened because, first of all, this little snippet went up from his appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast of him basically just saying what a lot of us think, first of all, which was that, you know, the stories are a bit less impactful these days. It doesn't feel as edgy as it used to. And everybody agreed with Taker then. They were like, yeah, that's a good point from Taker. I only wish that Vince would see that and all this sort of thing. Everyone was like, yeah, good. But then more details emerged, as we're about to find out. And Taker said some stuff that, in a modern context, a lot of people have kind of scoffed at and gone, yeah, that's not really right, that. So Undertaker has said, that era of guys like Dr. D, the man himself, that era of those guys, those were men. You go to a dressing room nowadays, it's a lot different. I remember walking into my first real dressing room and I saw some crusty effing men, right? This just sounds awful. Like half of them had guns and knives in their bags, and it got handled back then. Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games, and I don't know, making sure they look pretty. Like, what? It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just like those eras, man. I just like that was when men was men.
When men were men.
Men were men. That's really stupid. So anyway, Xavier Woods tweeted. Well, no, Tom, it is. No, it
Hot
is.
take. Right, that's really stupid. Yeah,
Well,
it's a very old hat comment, isn't it? It's very old hat.
And, you know, I mean, I think it just kind of shows Undertaker's age a little bit, the way he's got video games. Ugh, God. Making sure you look pretty. No,
not in my day.
No, he's
about
putting makeup on and being a zombie. Get out.
Exactly. Not anymore. He's now about 3 anecdotes away from being part of the 4 Yorkshiremen sketch. Well, we had it tough in my day.
We used to live in a septic tank.
Our dad would thrash us to death with his belt. Xavier Woods put out a tweet following this. It wasn't directly speaking to The Undertaker, but you can, when Jack tells you what the tweet said, you'll kind of get that we know who he's talking about there.
Yeah, Woods said, I wouldn't be the person that I am without the guidance and lessons of a few key people from the previous generation of wrestling. They taught me about the business and to save my money, and that having video games in the locker room is healthier than having redacted. Thank you, guys. So, presumably that means knives or guns. As Undertaker said, that half of the lads in the locker room had knives or guns on them back then. And Woods is kind of making a joke of that, but also raising a very good point. And I reckon that the wrestling business is probably generally a nicer place backstage to be in these days.
I think much nicer. From nail files to trademark files. Whoa! Spray me ankle with that segue. AEW has filed a quite intriguing trademark, haven't they, Jack?
They have. On January 18th, they filed the trademark on Battle of the Belts for use in merchandise, including toys, games, and clothing. As of yet, it's not known what this trademark will be used for regularly. Battle of the Belts was used as an event name in the mid-90s by the NWA. Obviously, Cody is never shy about using an old NWA name or one of his dad's old concepts and breathing new life into it. But for this one, could that maybe be like along the lines of Kenny Omega versus another champion of some sort, maybe Rich Swann, someone from a different promotion, as he wants to collect all these belts?
I feel like we're setting up possibly for an AEW Impact dual-branded pay-per-view, where we will see the champions of each brand colliding. I think there's lots of room to do that. You know, the X Division champion versus the TNT champion, the World Tag Champs versus the World Tag Champs, Knockouts champs versus Women's champ. We have the Heavyweight champ versus the Impact Heavyweight champ. Battle of the Belts seems to be a name that fits that perfectly.
Yeah, that would work as well.
I think that could be where we end up going. In fact, we have a sort of Battle of the Belts prelude on Impact Wrestling coming up at their No Surrender pay-per-view, don't we, Jack?
Yes, we do, because it was announced... Well, it says here in the notes it was announced today, but I wonder if this was late on yesterday. Because
I think it was late on yesterday when I was typing that.
That the Private Party, or just Private Party, I've been told off before by saying the Private Party. It's just Private Party. Will challenge the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, for the Impact Tag Team titles at No Surrender on Saturday, February 13th, excuse me. No Surrender is Impact Wrestling's next Impact Plus special. So, February 13th, I don't think the Private Party will win, but you never know. With Matt Hardy watching their back, they could sneak something, they could pull something out of the bag. They obviously became number one contenders recently by beating Chris Sabin and James Storm, who was making his return in the main event of this week's Impact even, sorry. And obviously Jerry Lynn got involved and kind of cost the Impact lads the match, sneakily. So it's only a matter of time before Tony Khan gets in the ring and belts somebody. I think that's going to be the moral of the story here.
And is it only a matter of time until we see a WWE Hall of Famer come out of retirement? That's another question that we're asking ourselves today. Following an announcement from a tweet, from the WWE socials about who people would like to see in the Royal Rumble. A WWE Hall of Famer has very much demanded one more match. Who would that be, Jack?
That's Alundra Blaze.
Yes.
Now, she did not mince her words. She quote tweeted a reply to one of, I think, just the official WWE Twitter account, which had made a post saying what's one superstar they'd like to show up at this year's Royal Rumble. And Alundra Blaze did a quote retweet, and she wrote, "Well, you know what? One can only scream from the top of the mountain for so long and so loud. When are you going to give one of your golden era Hall of Famers a freaking retirement match? Just putting it out there. After this, I'm done. I mean, I'm not really getting any younger." Now, reading that, I didn't know whether she meant she wants to be put in the Rumble and that would be her last match, or she wants a retirement match, like just a match, just a singles match at the Royal Rumble event. Maybe that's what she meant more.
I mean, being in the Rumble would be great. I'd love to see her have one more match, actually, in a singles capacity. Justin Henry and myself, we do the Cultaholic Classic Raw review, the podcast, on a Saturday. Yeah. And we have been watching every episode of Raw from the very beginning. We're up to 1995 now. And you know what? Alundra Blaze has been this light in the dark, where there's been some really naff shows full of really naff wrestling. Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano have been just tearing it up. And I would love to see, for old time's sake, Blaze have one more match.
Yeah, fair enough.
Great. Who would you put someone like Alundra Blaze in there with?
Shayna Baszler.
There you go.
Okay, there's various other candidates, but the first one there that sprang to mind was Shayna Baszler. I don't know how mobile. Like, not every wrestler stays as good as Ricky Steamboat did. You know what I mean? So maybe we'd have to work around some things. But the one immediately that matched up best to me there was Shayna Baszler. Do you have any in mind?
I would love to see Bayley do it. I feel like Bayley and Alundra Blaze could have some real good fun on the microphone and in segments leading up to it, and I think they'd have a belter of a match. Bayley is a high quality match machine. Yes, on many occasions last year she proved that, and I'd like to see Bayley and Blaze. I think there'd be some wonderful chemistry there. But you know what? If you're watching this and you go, "Shut up, you idiots," you're both wrong. Tell us why in the comments down there. And of course, stay safe. Love you. Bye.